All right, here we go. Another live video. Hey everybody, I'm Kris and welcome to this live video. Today, I want to answer your questions. So write your questions in the comments, write your questions in the chat, and I will look at them. I'll read them, I'll think about them, and then I'll answer them. All right? So I'm really looking forward to answering your questions today. Just write in the chat and we'll get started. I see lots of people writing hi, hello, hola, and everything else. Thank you. All right. So what is today's live call going to be about? Does anybody know the topic that we're talking about today? Well, you probably don't, because I don't, because I'm waiting for your questions. You can write your questions and I will answer them. Okay? And then each call is different because we're just answering the questions that you are asking, the things that you want to talk about. All right. So I'm waiting for questions to come in right now. Subhash says, what's the difference between everyday and everyday? Yeah, so the word everyday, is it one word or is it two words, right? What's the difference? If we say every day, that's different from every day, one word, right? So when we write it as one word, this is an adjective. Every day. For example, my everyday activities. So it gives us more information about a noun. But when we say every day as two words, this is how often we do something, right? Like, Kris, how often do you work? I work every day. Two words. All right. I see some more questions coming in. What's the difference between home and house? This is a good one. Home and house. The difference between home and house is that a house is a type of building. Usually in American English, when we say a house, we mean a place where one family lives. So it's also a type of building, like not an apartment, a house, right? Not an apartment building, or in England, they would say a block of flats, not a block of flats, not an apartment building, but a house. One family lives in this one building, right? But home is really anything. It can be a city, right? You can say, this city is my home. It's the place that you love, the place that you feel a connection to, the place that you are from, right? So this is a home, not a house. You can't say, we don't usually say, this city is my house, right? We say, this city is my home. We also have the idiom, this phrase in English, home is where the heart is. Home is where the heart is. This means home is the place that you love, basically, right? So this is another difference between home and house. Okay, here's a good question. When should we use ever and never? So the word ever, you should use when you have a question or when you have a negative verb in the sentence. And the word never should be used when you have a positive verb in the sentence. So, for example, you can say, have you ever, and then ask a question, right? Like, have you ever been to Paris? Have you ever watched this film? for example. And you could say, I have never been to Paris. I have never watched this film. Or you could say, so this is when we use ever and never. All right? We could also say, I haven't. I have not ever. I have not ever been to Paris, or I have not ever watched this film. Now, usually we make this part smaller, right? We don't say I have never. We say I've never, right? I've never. And instead of I have not ever, we can say I haven't ever. I haven't ever. Or I've never, right? So really these are the same. I haven't ever and I have never, they mean the same thing. But in grammar in English, we should use the word ever with questions and with negative verbs, right? Have not, haven't. And we should use never with positive verbs. I have. All right. Great. Let's see. Okay. This is an interesting question. I'm trying to write this down before the message disappears. Let's see. What was the other one? So someone asked, what's the difference between these words? I'm trying to find. Okay. What was the next one? Okay, so the difference was, what's the difference in pronunciation between these words? Right? Good question. So let's start from the bottom. This word is here. This word is here. The same pronunciation. This word is hare. It's a rabbit, right? A hare, a rabbit. And it sounds the same as hair, right? So these two words, here, hare, and this one is heir. And this is, after the king dies, his son becomes the king. So the son right now is the heir to the kingdom, to the throne, right? This is heir, but it sounds the same as heir, right? So we have heir, hair, and here. They sound the same, right? These two sound the same. These two sound the same. These two sound the same. Same pronunciation. Great. Next. Someone says, what is the meaning of Euclidean? This is an adjective from the name of the philosopher Euclid. Great. Okay, next. What's the difference between transport and transportation? And I'll answer this while I'm erasing the board. So transport can be a verb or a noun. But transportation is only a noun, right? Also, if we talk about this system in general, like in a city, this activity that's happening, carrying, it's like a special system, organized way of doing it, then this is usually transportation. And transport is more about the actual act of carrying it, not the system of how it works, I guess. But, someone else might say that they think about it differently than I do. They're very similar in the meaning when we use them as a noun, but transport is a verb and transportation is not. All right, let's see next. Baharim, hi. Yeah, it's been a long time. Let's see. When should we use could and would? Good question. If I could explain it to you, then I would. And I can, so I will. So what we can do with verbs like this, modal verbs, we can use them to repeat lots of information. You can say lots of information and then use a helping verb or a modal verb and repeat this information, and you don't have to say it all again. So he asked, please, what's the difference between this? I said, if I could teach it, then I would, right? So if I could, I would. So what does could mean? Could is like the word can, right? It's like the word can. And could and can are both part of the verb. That's difficult to see. 1 second. I'll use blue. To be able to. Right? So can and could, these are from the verb to be able to. Like when we say, I run, this is from the verb to run. But when we say I can, this is from the verb to be able to. It's a special verb. And we can say can when we're speaking about the present. We can say could when we're speaking about the past. And we can also say could when we use it as part of a hypothetical situation, like when we use conditionals. So basically, we're saying, if I would be able to, this is what could means. Could means, can means I am able to now. Could means I was able to in the past, but could also means I would be able to. So if I would be able to help you with this question, I would help you with this question. Right? So someone might say, Kris, can you fly? And I would say, if I could, I would. If I could, I would. This means if I could fly, I would fly. Right? And we don't have to say the word fly all the time because we can use could and would. And remember, I said, if I could, I would, and I can, so I will. I can teach you this, so I will teach you this, right? So there you go. Okay. Next. Okay, here's a good question. Is language acquisition better than traditional learning? And to answer this question, I need to also tell some people about what language acquisition means, because language acquisition is when you learn the language through the natural way of meeting people, speaking with people, having conversations, living life. This is more or less what language acquisition means. You actually go to the place and you do it. And so a lot of people believe that this is a better way to learn a language. But you really need a balance of these things, because if you just go to the place and just learn like that, then you're probably going to learn a very simplified version of the language. You can just say some basic things so that you can live your daily life, but you aren't going to be discussing politics or philosophy or things like this. You're going to be just surviving in the language, right? So for that, you need some formal education. You need books, you need theory, you need a deeper, more abstract understanding of the language. And that's where you should go back to traditional learning, as you've called it. So yeah, that's what I would say. Okay, next. Okay, here's a good one. What's the difference between who, whom, and whose? Who, whom, and whose? Good question. What's the difference? So, first I should say, one of these three words is an old word, and today most people do not say it. And that word is whom. You don't have to say whom. Today, you don't have to say whom. Sure, in the old rules of English, we said whom, and there was a rule. And I'm going to tell you this rule right now. The rule is, or was, if you want to speak like the Queen of England, then this is a rule. If you want to speak like a normal person in every other country or every other place in the world, if you're not going to be the Queen of England, then you don't have to use this rule. But here's the rule. Who is a subject word, and whom is an object word. So, for example, when I say, I see him, him is an object word, and I is the subject word. I do the action to him, right? I see him. So whom would be like him, and who would be like I. But if we change it, he sees me. Both of these words changed, right? Because now he is the subject word. Him was the object word. Just like I is a subject word and me is the object word. So if we are asking a question or we're speaking about the person and we are speaking about them as a subject of the sentence in grammar, then we say who. And if we're speaking about them as the object in the sentence in grammar, then we say whom. But as I've told you, today most people don't say whom at all. They just say who. Not important. Subject, object. So it's easier. Whose is different. It means of who, right? For example, if I say, this is my office, this is Kris's office, somebody could say, whose office, Whose office? Of who? The office of who? Whose office? It's Chris's office. It's my office. That's so whose is different, right? We have who and we have of who. Whose. That's the difference. Okay, great. Great question. Okay, here's another one that a lot of people ask all the time. So let's answer this one. The question is, what's the difference between in time and on time? In time and on time. So the difference is that when we are on time, it means we are there at the right time. We are there at the right time. So, for example, if the lesson starts at 8 a.m., excuse me, if the lesson starts at 8 a.m., then you need to arrive or come to the lesson at 8 a.m. Then you are on time. If you come to the lesson at 8:05, 5 minutes after 8, then you are not on time and you are late. But in time means something different. In time means that you have enough time to do the thing that you wanted to do. So, for example, your exam starts at 8 a.m., 8 o'clock, 8 a.m. Your exam starts at 8 a.m. So if you want to be on time, you should arrive at 8 a.m. But you arrive at 8:05, 5 minutes after 8. So you are late. You are not on time. But your teacher, your professor, arrives at 8:10, 10 minutes after 8. Your professor is also late and is also not on time, like you. But because he was late, the exam did not start at 8 o'clock. It did not start on time. It started late. And the exam started at 8:10 when your professor arrived. So you arrived at 8:05 and you were in time. You were in time for the exam. So you did not miss the exam. You did not miss the thing that you needed to do, right? So you were late, but you didn't miss it. You were in time for the exam, but you were not on time. I hope that shows you the difference. All right, everybody. Thank you so much for joining this live call. As you know, every Friday at 8 a.m. Oh, sorry, not 8 a.m. Every Friday at 9 a.m. New York time, I go live on YouTube like this. Every Monday at 9 a.m. New York time, I go live on Facebook. And every Wednesday at 9 a.m. New York time, I go live on Instagram. So if you want to join more live calls like this, go there. If you want to have live speaking lessons with me and with other professional teachers who I work with, and if you want to join 50 lessons every day to practice speaking and to meet speaking partners from all around the world, countries all around the world, then I have a special program for you. It's called English Every Day, and I'm going to send the link right now in the chat. My English Every Day program is a place where you can join all the speaking lessons that you want. We have lessons every day, all day. They're starting every 15 minutes right now. Every 15 minutes, there's a new lesson. So, in just 9 minutes, there's going to be another lesson starting. And then after that, 24 minutes. So, it's going to be, there's lots of lessons. So yeah, at this time also, I see. Mm-hmm. So it's a great place because you can practice speaking with lots of different people and hear lots of different accents and hear how different people around the world speak. And a lot of the students in our program have become friends, and they actually visited each other in different countries. It's really cool. And the students who have been with us for a long time, we send them a free t-shirt that says, "I speak English." Maybe you saw a picture of me wearing it before. So it's really a cool program. I really like the students who are there. And every day you can speak as much as you want with me and other professional teachers. So we've also tried to make this very affordable. Of course, I have my free seminar and I have these live calls where I do everything for free. But this program is not free. It's $50 per month. And that's because we need to pay all of the teachers. I mean, we have 25 teachers right now, and they're just doing lessons all day. So, we have to pay our staff, and I think you understand that. So if you want to speak live with professional teachers and students from around the world, join our English Everyday program, and I will be really happy to see you there at the next lesson. All right. Thank you so much for coming and supporting us today, and have a wonderful day. Bye-bye, everybody.